Good morning and welcome to Yoga for Yogis. This program is sponsored by Yonkers Public Library. We're grateful to the library for giving us an opportunity to practice yoga via Zoom every Thursday morning. We're also grateful to our instructor, Shannon, this morning. She's going to lead us in a lovely class. And we're also grateful to all of you participants who come every Thursday religiously and you form our wellness community. So we had a couple of trouble spots that we went over: stiff neck, stiff upper back, and shoulders. And a little bit of a note, you can practice in a chair if you would like, because Shannon is able to give modifications for those people who are not on a mat this morning.
That's all.
Okay, awesome. So take it away.
All right, so we'll get started today laying on our backs. And if you're in your chair, you can just sit in your chair in a comfortable position. But as you come onto your back, find any comfortable place. So I don't care where you're at. I don't care where your legs are. I don't care where your arms are. I just want you to find a place that you feel that you can relax a little bit and be comfortable. And even that being said, if laying on your back is not comfortable, you can go ahead and ignore me and take any other kind of position. You can sit, you can be on your belly, or even laying on your side is a good option. So just beginning to find a place where you can start to soften into your practice this morning. And maybe starting to close your eyes or just bringing your gaze towards the tip of your nose. As you first arrive in whatever position you decided to come into, take a deep inhale through the nose. Start to feel your body expand and fill with air. And on your exhale, just start to sigh it out and let it all go. If that felt really good in your body to help you kind of settle into the pose today, into your first shape, you can take a couple more deep breaths or just starting to allow your breath to soften. And always remember that even the position that you chose, you might be comfortable right now, but if at any point it becomes uncomfortable or painful especially, just change position, move around. You don't have to stay exactly where you are. As you continue to settle in this morning, you're starting to invite a scan, just beginning to check in with your body and your breath today. Maybe beginning at the tips of your toes and just starting to work your way up. Just bringing awareness to your joints, to your muscles. Beginning to notice and observe if there's any places that feel tight or tense today. And as you come across those places, I'm trying to remove that judgment, but just noticing and bringing a little curiosity into the space. And perhaps as you find those places that are a little tight, pausing your awareness there. So maybe it's your neck or your hips or your lower back. And As you take a couple of deep breaths while you're pausing your awareness in that spot, trying to send the breath to that place. As you inhale, inviting a little bit of space, whether at that spot or in the spaces around it. And as you exhale, just invite even the tiniest bit of softness and release. Maybe it's so small it's not noticeable, and that's okay. And 2 more full rounds of breath here. Deep inhales in. And exhale to let the air go all the way out. One more. Deep inhale in. And exhale to let the air go all the way out. Continuing to feel the breath move throughout your body, just start to invite a little bit of movement. So think like you're moving in slow motion. Maybe just even lifting the toes, allowing the fingers to wiggle. And if you're on your back, you'll eventually start to bring your feet flat onto the floor, with the knees pointing up to the sky. If you're in your chair, you'll just keep your feet flat on the chair. Flat on the floor, not on the chair. And maybe you have to move your low back around a little bit, especially if you didn't start in this position. And just kind of taking a moment to observe this new shape. And just start to slide your arms out a little bit wider. So maybe they're in a T or a cactus, or even bringing them to side. So again, we're moving nice and slow. And it doesn't have to be your full range of motion here, but just kind of starting to invite some movement into the neck. And maybe taking a couple more, rocking from side to side with the head. Again, nice and slow. When you're nice and even, the next time the nose is pointing up to the sky, you'll pause and really feel the back of the head press into the floor. And slowly start to walk the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to drop wide. So again, when you get there, you might rock the hips a little bit. And it's okay if your knees are up higher. It's okay if they're down by the floor or somewhere in the middle. Just again, starting to create a little bit of space in the body, finding that full opening. Let's just take 2 rounds of breath here. After that second breath, I'm going to give 2 options. So you can keep your left leg as it is in your half butterfly and just plant your right foot on the floor. So it's okay if your hips are going to kind of start to rock over to the left side, just because your left knee is going to be a little heavier. If it's too much to keep that knee out to the side, you can always bring the left foot onto the floor, but we're going to focus on the right leg here. So start to hug your right knee into the chest. So again, like I said, you can keep that left leg in a butterfly, or you can plant the foot on the floor. What does your body need this morning? If you're in your chair, you'll just keep that left foot firmly planted on the floor, and maybe you're just lifting the right knee in a little bit. Maybe you're using your hands, maybe you're not. And just begin to rock that right knee from side to side. Again, nice, slow, gentle movements. Just creating a little bit more space. And then maybe even inviting some circles. If you're circling, go the other way. And keep hugging that right knee into the chest. Feel that slight constriction on your belly. And you can roll the ankle here. Point and flex the foot. There's no right or wrong way to move, just warming up our joints. And then if you still have that left leg in a butterfly, you'll plant the left foot on the floor and peel your right knee over to the right side, even just a little bit. So drawing the knee towards the outsides of the ribs. This time, bring your left hand to the top of the left hip and just kind of gently encourage that left hip down to the floor. So it doesn't have to be a big press. You just don't want to fall onto that right side. And maybe you're going to keep your hand on top of your knee, or maybe you start to slide your hand up to the foot and send the sole of the foot up to the sky. So you can always come into this half happy baby with the hand at the back of the thigh. So if you're in the chair, you're just going to focus on pulling the knee out to the right side. And again, keep encouraging that left hip down to the floor. Just one more breath. Cross your right ankle on top of your left knee, coming into your figure 4. So if you can use your hand or just use that energy, feeling like you're trying to press the right knee and the right inner thigh out and open a little bit longer. And you can rock this shape from side to side. You can keep this shape on the floor, or maybe begin to lift the left leg into the chest, bringing the figure 4 in. So if you're in a chair in that figure 4 to get this shape, you'll actually hinge a little bit at the hips and lean a little forward. Just trying to keep that spine nice and flat. One more breath here. You hug the figure 4 in, release the foot to the floor. Uncross the legs, bring both feet onto the floor. And just pausing there. Maybe observing for a moment if there's any shift or difference in the sides. And start to bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees come wide again towards that butterfly. So you may notice even more of a shift or a difference in the sides as you come here. So this time we'll move to the left side. So again, you have the option to keep the right leg as a butterfly and plant the left foot on the floor. If it's too much to keep that right knee open, you can just bring the foot onto the floor. So you'll start to hug the left knee in. And invite a little motion, rocking it from side to side, just creating a little bit of space in the hip joint. And invite some circles. You're circling, go the other way. And then plant that right foot on the floor if you still had it in the butterfly. And this time you'll focus on pulling the left knee over to the left side. But this time you'll bring your right hand to the top of the right hip just to gently remind that hip to stay down. You can roll the ankle. Any movement, always inviting any movement that you feel like your body is craving. So again, you can stay here with the knee out to the side, or maybe start to slide your hand up to the foot, or even just to the back of the thigh, coming towards this half happy baby shape. Just creating a little bit more space. It doesn't matter where your arm is, and you can even do it without your hands, and just kind of using a little bit more activation through the core as well. There's no right or wrong. One more breath here. Yeah. Cross your left ankle on top of the right knee. Come into that figure four. So again, just gently encouraging the left inner thigh to lengthen. You can always invite a little bit of motion. Whatever you did on the other side, checking in here. So maybe the right foot stays on the floor, or maybe you hug the figure four in. Again, if you're in your chair, you can just hinge a little bit at the hips, and that's going to deepen the stretch for you. So keeping your focus on your breath, so continuing to feel the breath move throughout your body. It's the most important part of your practice. Let's take in one more here. Relaxing through the shoulders, especially if you're holding the knee in. Yeah, and then release the foot to the floor, uncross the leg, bring both feet onto the floor, and just pausing for a moment. Stretch your arms up overhead, so maybe they reach the floor, maybe they're really wide when they reach the floor. And then start to stretch your toes out in front of you, just taking a full body stretch. So if you're in your chair, just reach your arms up overhead, and like you just woke up, take that stretch. Bring your feet back onto the floor, and you'll keep your right arm up overhead and just roll onto your right side, coming into a fetal position. So just feeling all of the weight lift up off of the spine. If you're in your chair, you're just gonna bring your hands to the tops of the thighs, maybe closing your eyes for a moment. Just taking a soft pause here. One more breath. Using the strength of your arms, start to press yourself up and bring yourself into a comfortable seat. So you can always sit up on a pillow or a blanket. And we're not gonna fold forward or anything, at least for the first part of this. So you can stay in a cross-legged position, or you can bring your legs out in front of you. We're gonna focus on kind of stretching the shoulders and the neck. So just finding a comfortable place where you can sit and just kind of focus on the upper part of the body for a few moments. So you can bring your hands to the tops of the legs, and let's just close our eyes. So wherever you're at, just closing your eyes. And And feel as if there's a string right at the top of your head, and it's gently trying to pull yourself up just a little bit taller. So gently roll the shoulder heads back as if you're broadening through the collarbone. And just begin, again, you can keep your eyes closed here, keep them open, but we're gonna move nice and slow. Just start to turn your head over to the right, as far as it'll go. Trying to keep your chin parallel to the floor, just to keep the neck in a safe position. And then nice and slow, bring the head back towards the center and all the way over to the left side. Looking over your left shoulder. And coming all the way back to the middle, allow the chin to drop towards the chest. So as the chin drops towards the chest, I want you to keep focusing on broadening the collarbone. So it's gonna kind of hit a resistance spot at some point. So you're still focusing on that nice strong posture through the spine, but just trying to release the chin towards the chest a little bit more. And then just gently begin to rock the chin from side to side. So again, it's nice, slow, subtle movements. And the next time that head comes all the way over to the right, allow the right ear to drop to the right shoulder, bringing your gaze back forward. And if it helps, you can even bring that right hand towards the left side of the head and just kind of gently encourage the head down. And maybe that left hand even comes to the floor just to stretch through the left side a little bit more. So these are all just options. You can always just kind of let the head rest where it's at, or you can add the hands. So especially if you're feeling really stiff in the neck, just moving very mindfully into this stretch. And you may or may not feel a lot. And the last option here to this side is to keep the head towards the right, but then maybe bring your gaze towards the right knee. So you're still keeping the head heavy, you're just kind of moving which muscle is being stretched very subtly at the left side of the neck. One more breath to this side. And allow the chin to roll nice and slowly back across the chest, and we'll move over to the left side. So bringing the left ear towards the left shoulder, allow the head to get heavy. Again, you can just kind of let gravity do its job, or maybe that left hand comes to the right side of the head, and it's just a gentle encouragement. And maybe the right hand comes down, just to keep lengthening through the right side. And you can even do that with just kind of pressing the right shoulder down as well. You might notice a difference from side to side. We tend to hold tension, a lot of tension in our necks in general. And then but one side might feel like it's holding it a little bit more. And still keeping the focus on your breath. And again, that last option as we pause here is to just keep the head towards the left, but then just slowly start to turn your gaze towards the left side of the floor or the left knee. It's just finding a little bit of a very subtle different muscle on the side of the neck to open up. So one more breath here. Nice and slow, allow the chin to drop back towards the center of the chest. Let the head be heavy, but keep focusing on rolling the shoulder heads back. And nice and slow, lifting your head up. We're gonna make our way onto our hands and our knees. So you can always add extra padding underneath your knees. I'll be mindful so we won't stay here for too long. A pillow or a blanket, especially if you're on a hardwood floor. I'm on half hardwood, half carpet. So you coming onto your hands and your knees, and there's always the option if it's too much to put pressure on your wrists or on your hands, you can always drop onto your forearms. But I want you to continuously focus on lengthening the spine. If you're in a chair, you're just gonna bring your hands to the tops of your knees and just keep focusing on lengthening the spine. That's the most important part here. So begin to drop your belly and look forward. Pull your heart through your shoulders. And feel like your shoulder blades are trying to squeeze towards your spine and down your back. Pressing the floor away, start to round the spine. Allow the chin to drop towards the chest. So this time, instead of the shoulder blades coming towards the spine, they're trying to pull away from the spine. They're only gonna go so far. Really kind of flattening those wings on the back. So we're taking this through this really intentional cat-cow movement. So dropping the belly and looking forward. I want you to really focus on trying to come into that deepest part of your cow pose here. Really focus on pulling the shoulder blades together and broadening the heart. And round the spine, press the floor away and drop the head. Really focus on pressing the shoulder blades away from each other. So taking one more round like that, dropping the belly, looking forward, pulling the shoulder blades towards the spine. And rounding the spine, pressing the floor away, feel the shoulder blades pull apart. So making your way back into your cow, drop your belly, look forward. So this time I want you to keep the shape with the spine, but drop your head. So you have kind of that cat head, but you have the cow body. So your brain has to work a little harder to do that opposite. And then we're gonna switch it. So round the spine, you can keep your head dropped as you first come to your cat, but then look a little forward. You're only gonna be able to look so far forward. So it should feel really awkward and uncomfortable because it's not what we normally do. And then again, drop the belly, drop your head. And so we're working the spine, we're working the neck, we're working the nerves in our spine. And also kind of playing with our brain a little bit by not doing the same thing we always do. Round the spine, look forward. So you have to think a little bit harder. So just one more like that. So drop the belly, drop the head. Don't think too hard, just nice and slow. This is why we move a little slower here. And then around the spine, look forward. And come back into a neutral spine. So start to bring your toes together, take your knees a little wider and sink your hips towards your heels for a child's pose. So if you need any extra support in your child's pose, you can always slide something underneath your belly or even slide something behind your knees. And of course, if child's pose is not comfortable, because I know it's not actually comfortable for everybody, you can always come to sit on your shins or even just in a comfortable seat wherever you want to be. We're just going to find a pause here. And just settling back into your breath. So if you're in a child's pose, just start to lift yourself up a little bit and thread your right arm underneath your left. So again, focusing on pulling the shoulder blade away from the spine as you come into this thread the needle. And you can keep that left arm out in front of you or bring it around behind your back. If you're in a seated position, don't feel like you have to come towards a child's pose just to feel this. You can stay in your seated position or on your chair and just reach your right arm across your body and you'll kind of hook that left arm. It's going to give you the same exact stretch that I want you to find on your shoulder. And you can even turn your head one way. Just one more breath here. So start to unthread. So whether you're seated or in that child's pose, slide the right arm out from underneath the left. And let's make our way right to the other side. So thread your left arm underneath your right. Focus on pulling the shoulder blade away from the spine. And again, if you're seated, you'll cross the left arm across the chest. Again, that focus is just in creating a little bit of space between the shoulder blade and the spine, that scapula. It's really common too if you have tension in the neck to kind of have tension in the shoulder blades and that space right between the spine and where the shoulder blade is. That's all the same muscle. That's your trapezius muscle. It goes across your whole back. We tend to feel it a lot at the tops of our shoulders, right at our neck, but it does travel all the way down to our mid back. It's all connected. Just take one more breath here. So slowly start to unthread and unwind wherever you are. And just take one full breath, again, wherever you're at. If you're in that child's pose or seated, just invite a deep inhale in. And then exhale to let it all go out. Start to make your way back towards your tabletop position. Again, you can be on your hands or on your forearms. But you're just gonna step your right foot forward. So it doesn't matter how long it takes to get there. It doesn't matter if you need to use your hand to bring it there. And just start to walk your hands up the thigh. So if you're on your chair, you can actually kind of scoot yourself to one side. Keep your right butt and your right back of the leg on the chair. And just step your left leg behind. And you can always use a wall. Use any support that you need. And you can just kind of focus on keeping the hands on the thigh. And again, focus on lengthening through the crown of the head. If it feels okay, you can reach the arms up to the sky. Really pressing down and squeezing in. So focusing on the strength through the legs, not just opening up the joints and the muscles. One more breath. Release your hands all the way back to the floor. Just take a little bit of pressure off of the back knee. Curl your back toes under and lift your back leg away from the floor. Really press down into the feet and keep lengthening the spine. If it's too much to keep your back knee lifted, you can always keep it on the floor. Just be mindful of your kneecap. Add that extra padding if you need it. Look forward. And step your left foot all the way up to meet your right. And walk your feet wide, maybe as wide as your mat, or if you're not on a mat, a little bit wider than your hips. And allow your head to relax. Feel like the crown of the head is trying to drop to the floor. Soften through the backs of the knees. Your hands may or may not touch the floor. You can always bring your hands onto your legs. If you don't like the feeling of the head dropping, you'll stay in kind of this halfway lift. So it feels nice actually to bring your hands to the tops of the legs and just keep focusing on looking forward. You're actually working your core a little bit more, and you can always kind of play with that angle of the hips just to feel a little bit more stretch through the lower back and the backs of the legs. Again, there's no right or wrong. So if you're folded all the way in and the head is relaxed, just start to slide your hands up the leg and come towards that halfway lift. So we're all gonna meet here. So nice and slow movement. Bend into the knees, really press into the feet as you rise all the way up to stand with a flat back. My head is kind of cut off, that's okay. So you're gonna walk your feet a little bit closer together. And it doesn't matter if the big toes touch or if you can take the feet a little wider. I want you to find a place that you feel stable. And reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Yeah. Just gonna turn just for a moment so you can see my arms. And maybe the palms touch, maybe they stay wide, but then just take a little lean over to the right. So really pressing equally into the feet. Come all the way back to the middle and lean over to the left. Come all the way back to the middle and bring your hands to your heart. So you can keep your hands at your heart or bring your hands to your hips. Start to find something in front of you that's not moving. So maybe it's a speck on the floor or it's like a picture or something on the wall. But I want you to begin to shift the weight into the left foot and lift your right heel off of the floor. So your right toes and the right ball of the foot is still down. And you can stay right here or just start to lift that whole right foot off of the floor, letting the knee float towards the chest. And it doesn't matter how high it is. Really start to activate the left glute, the left booty, as you press the left foot down. And again, feel the crown of the head reach taller. And maybe that knee stays bent, or maybe you start to extend the leg forward. Again, it doesn't matter how far it goes. Keep focusing on that point in front of you for balance and support. If you're feeling really steady, maybe you even start to reach the arms up to the sky. Use your breath. Nice. It doesn't matter where your leg is at. Awesome. And then start to bring the right foot back onto the floor. And just pause. So resist that urge to shake it off right away. I know we want to. So we're going to come back towards that tabletop before we find that balance on the other side. So reach the arms up to the sky. And then start to bend into the knees. You can bring your hands to the hips towards the thighs. A nice flat back, come towards that halfway lift. If it feels okay in your body, you can relax the whole upper body. But again, just be mindful with that up and down of the head. And we're gonna rise all the way up to stand again. Inhale, reach the arms up. Bring your hands back to your heart. So begin to step your right foot all the way back and bring your hands to the floor. Again, nice and slow, be mindful as we lower down. Drop the right knee down. Uncurl the toes. And then walk your hands up the left thigh, coming towards that low lunge. So again, adding any extra padding you need on the right knee. Maybe start to reach the arms up to the sky, and just an option. Focusing on your breath. One more. Bring your hands back towards the floor. So again, just like we came into it, curl your back toes under, press your back leg away from the ground. Keep looking forward. Don't relax the head here so you can step the right foot all the way up to meet the left. And it can take a couple hops to get there. So again, you can stay in this halfway lift, bring your hands to the tops of the knees or the thighs and don't fold all the way in. Or you can fold all the way in. Listen to your body. If you're folded all the way in, we'll meet in this halfway lift. Hands to the tops of the thighs. Bend into the knees so you can press the feet down and rise all the way up to stand. So bring your hands to your hips or your hands can come to your heart and we'll find that balance on the other side. So shift the weight into the right foot and just begin by lifting the left heel. So already just starting to feel the right foot plant down. And then maybe you stay right here, maybe you start to lift the foot up off of the floor. Doesn't matter how high it goes. Remember to find something in front of you that's not moving to help with your focus. Keep focusing on your breath. If you're feeling really steady, maybe you start to extend the leg out in front of you. And it can always be a little bent. If you're feeling really, really steady, maybe the arms reach up to the sky. Using your breath, just one more. And start to release everything back to the floor. Again, resist the urge to shake it off. Reach the arms all the way up to the sky. Feel that nice stretch. And maybe even look up and lean a little back. Again, it doesn't matter if your hands are touching or if they're apart. And bring your hands back to your heart center. And start to step your right foot back. Just drop the knee to the floor. You can always bring your hands to the ground for extra support. And then bring your left knee back to meet it. So you're coming back towards your hands and your knees for just a moment. Just gonna re-tilt my camera. And this time you're gonna come all the way to lay on your stomach. Bring your hands into a pillow and just release your forehead to that pillow. If you're in your chair, you're just gonna come back towards that comfortable seat. Closing your eyes. And just observing for a few moments. Just again, a difference in position. Start to come up onto your forearms. So coming towards your Sphinx pose. If you're in a chair, you're gonna bring your hands to the back of the chair and focus on broadening the collarbone. We're just finding a little baby heart opener here. Feel the pelvis root down. Feel the toenails press down. And maybe your head is very obviously looking straight forward. So there's a little bit of compression in the back of the neck. Or maybe you're gonna change the shape of the head to find a neutral neck. So it's almost kind of like staring towards your fingertips. Or maybe you really just wanna release through the neck and you just let the chin drop to the chest, but always focusing on broadening the collarbone. So you can kind of always play with where your head feels the most comfortable here. Let's take 2 more rounds of breath here. One more. Just start to lower your whole upper body down. You can make a pillow with the hands again, nice and controlled movement. So staying on your belly, you're just gonna reach your right arm out in front of you and start to roll onto your right side. So you're coming back to that fetal position. I'm just gonna flip myself around so my voice is moving towards the computer. So you're moving back into that fetal position on the right side. And again, just taking a moment, just kind of noticing being off of your stomach. And roll all the way onto your back. So keeping your feet on the floor. And reach your arms straight up to the sky. Cross your right elbow on top of your left and then give yourself a big hug. So you're reaching almost like you're trying to reach towards your shoulder blades. And then you'll kind of even move yourself around a little bit and feel as if your shoulder blades are trying to pull apart. So you're really trying to press that space into the ground. So if you're in your chair, it's the same action. You're giving yourself a hug. You're focusing on pulling the shoulder blades apart. And then allow the knees to drop over to the right. Coming in towards a spinal twist. So they can stay apart like mine are here, or you can always let them stack as they drop to the right. But I want you to not let that left shoulder lift up. So there will be just a little bit of resistance on that left side. It's a little harder when you're focusing on the hug. If you're in a chair, you can turn your knees over to the right and kind of focus on turning that torso towards the front of your chair. So it doesn't matter how far the knees go to the right, just kind of focusing on a little rinsing out of the spine. And you can even relax your fingertips. Try to relax your elbows and your arms a little bit. I know they're in maybe a weird position. One more breath here. So we're gonna lift the knees back up to the sky first. Uncross the arms, reach them back up to the sky, and then just cross the other elbow on top. So if you were with me, it's the left, but just make sure you do both sides, otherwise it doesn't really matter. Again, focus on pulling the shoulder blades apart. And this time you'll allow the knees to drop over to the left. So just taking the twist the other way. And it can be any kind of twist here that feels good on for your body today. Still feeling the breath move throughout your body. Just a couple more here. Nice and slow. Let the knees come back up to the sky. Unwrap the arms, and then maybe you just let those arms drop by your side or out a little wider. Just taking a moment here, just again, checking in with your body, seeing what's going on. Maybe start to hug the knees into the chest and give them a nice squeeze. You can rock them from side to side. Find some circles with the lower back, a nice soft massage. Beginning to find your way into your final Shavasana. So you can always keep your feet on the floor. You can extend your legs out in front of you. Slide anything underneath your knees that you want for extra support. If being on your back for more than a few moments, because we have been on our back a lot today, if there's any aches and pains in the lower spine, I actually recommend taking that Shavasana in a fetal position. So coming towards your right side and using your arm as a pillow. It's actually a really nice place to be, and it lifts up all of the pressure off of the low back. So as you start to find your final Shavasana, again, it can look like whatever you want it to look like. You can even slide your legs up a wall if there's a wall nearby. Just allowing your body to completely and totally melt into this shape. Spending these last few minutes of class in full and complete gratitude for your practice today. Shavasana. Starting to feel the next breath move throughout your body. Taking a deeper inhale in through the nose. And exhale to let it all go out. And just starting to invite tiny movements into the body. So anything that feels good for you, wiggling fingers and toes. And in your own way, in your own time, beginning to find your way into a comfortable seat. I know everyone's in a different position, so there's no rush to come into that seated position. Whatever your body needs on the way there. Keeping the focus inside. And just allowing the hands to float towards your heart center. And gently bowing your head. Thanking yourself for making it to your mat today, for your practice, for your energy, for your breath, and most importantly, for yourself. Namaste.
Namaste,
And
Shannon. Thank you so much for such a wonderful class.